always make fun because somehow I ended up having interviews
Yeah,
in engineering conference, and they're like,
yes.
why did you get an interview for an internship? You are not even
Yeah.
an engineer. I was a
Yeah.
biochem major.
Hmm.
And somehow the companies always had a biochem position
Yeah.
for summer. So it was a great experience. And I mean, everything is about networking. And
Mm.
to be honest, I'm still in contact with a lot of people from the organization. When I know a student that is an engineer, and
Yeah.
I can connect him or her to
Yeah.
that particular contact that I have in my network, it means a lot. It means a lot.
Mm.
So yeah, it was a great experience in terms of communication skills and leadership.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's a must. If you are an undergrad student, it's a must to be involved with some sort of organization and have a leadership role. I mean, I think that helps a lot,
Yes.
especially if you are planning to apply to grad school, to med school, and even
Mhm.
to get your first position
Yeah.
after undergrad, because not everybody is going to go to grad school. But if you are planning to just go straight to work,
Mhm.
which is completely fine, having these will actually help you in your application process.
Have you enjoyed listening to the IncrediPaul podcast? Are you looking for a way to support it? Or maybe you just want some swag? Check out the IncrediPaul store today. We have shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, hats, stickers, and so much more. Go to IncrediPaul.org, IncrediPaul.org, and click on the store link. Or go to the link in my socials bio and click on the IncrediPaul shop. Looking forward to seeing your IncrediPaul look.
Turn this up, turn this up.
Your professional development is one of the keys to your career success. When you combine your desire to grow with actionable steps, your journey to success becomes an incredible reality. Welcome to the IncrediPaul Podcast. And now, sharing his expertise, experience, and excellence with the world, here's your host, Paul Ferranbi.
Hi, I'm Paul Ferranbi, and welcome to the IncrediPaul Podcast, where we learn how to become the most incredible versions of ourselves by learning from each other. Today, I'm excited to have Dr. Nathalie Fuentes with me. Nathalie, how about you introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about yourself?
Of course. So I'm Dr. Nathalie Fuentes. Talking a little bit about myself, I did my bachelor's in biochemistry and linguistics at Iowa State. Then I did my Ph.D. at Penn State, College of Medicine in Biomedical Sciences.
Mm.
And after that, I did a postdoc at NIH. I'm currently a senior scientist in a big biopharmaceutical company named AstraZeneca. And yeah, I'm just so excited to be here. Thank you, Paul, for the invitation. So yeah, let's just start.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited. So, how did you talked a little bit about where you started in Iowa State and when you went to Penn State and where you did your postdoc and then where you are now. Did you always know you were going to go that route as far as getting your PhD, or how did that even come to be?
That's a great question. So I think, I don't know, science lovers, when we are little or younger, we always have that doubt. Should
Mm.
I do an MD? Should I go straight to a PhD? Do I
Yeah,
like research more? Um, do I want to see patients?
yeah,
So I think I did something pretty cool for me to, like help navigate the system a little bit better and to make the right decision in my
yeah.
case or for me. So first, I applied to many internships.
Mm.
Every time that I did an internship, I did it in a new field. For
Oh,
example, during my first year of college, I stayed within the University of Puerto Rico, and I did a project in biochemistry.
mm.
During my second year of college, I reapplied to another internship program, and then the research in that case was about cancer, so cancer biology.
Oh, wow.
Then my third internship, I did it in neuroscience.
Wow.
And my normal research in school at Iowa State was about hardcore biochemistry.
Wow.
So just by doing internships and research in your university, I was able to get a flavor of a lot of
Mm.
different fields. So I knew what I really like and
Yeah.
what I didn't like. So that was like the research side of things.
Yes.
Now, for the MD, which was always in the back of my mind during those years, I did a rotation in a hospital. So I volunteered.
Yeah.
I was assigned the ER.
Wow.
I was assigned to work on the ER. And I have to tell you, Paul, that was not for me. So while I was volunteering, I got a patient with a cardiovascular disease.
Mm-hmm.
He was literally having a heart attack in front of my eyes.
Wow.
And when I went through that process, like all my mentors and all the doctors were on top of that person trying to stabilize everything. I made a decision that probably that was not the best setting for me. I actually enjoy research. I really like to answer questions.
Yeah.
I really like the basic part of science.
Yeah.
So that's how I actually explore it. So I went through the process of doing it, of
Yeah.
doing research and volunteering at a hospital. And at the end, I think I made the right choice for me.
Yeah, definitely. I really like how you describe that, the doing different things each summer, along with different what you're doing during the semester. And then also, I think a lot of times with students or with anyone, there's this fear that they're going to do something and they're not going to like it and they're going to be stuck with it.
Exactly.
I think what you're saying is that that's not really true. You can try it. If you don't like it, you can do something else.
And also the point of all of this as well, if you think about it, by doing internship in different labs,
Mm-hmm.
you get different letters of recommendations. Your network expands.
Yes.
And I think that's very important in any science field. So I think that actually helped me right now from all those internships still till this day that I'm in a professional, in my professional career, I'm still in contact. I mean, with my mentors from those years, and it has been an amazing experience.
Are you a STEM student? Do you have questions about life after undergrad? Are you not sure what professional development really means? Or maybe you just want to meet some incredible people and ask questions to someone who's been in your shoes before. The IncrediPaul student community is for college students who want some help navigating through college, finding their way into grad school, a career, or even starting a business. We will meet once a month for an hour each time. You can reach out with questions at any time through a special group of people you know are serious about their growth as a student leading into a professional. Go to incredipaul.org/community to learn more about this. You can also go to my About page, incredipaul.org/about, to learn more about me. Join me in becoming the most incredible student you can be.
That's remarkable to even stay in contact with them all these years later.
And I have a trick for that. I mean, for all the students that are actually listening to us, use, holidays to keep in touch with them. So for example, if you did an internship 3 years ago and suddenly you need a letter of recommendation of that mentor specifically, make sure you follow up every year. I mean, Christmas. Send an email saying Merry Christmas. I hope you remember me. I have been doing great this year. I took these classes. I did this type of research. How are you? How are the publications in your lab? I saw that you published something recently. You just actually search in NCBI or PubMed or whatever you guys use to search for papers, and keep in touch that way. I mean, I think that's a good excuse to send an email and just say, hey, just don't forget about me.
Yeah, no, I really like that. That's a really great idea. I'm taking mental notes on that for sure. That's a really good strategy. I know for myself, I've been fortunate enough to go back to Iowa State a couple times to speak to some classes, and I've reconnected with my research professors now. Just to say, hey, I'm in town, and at least the last every year but 2020, because COVID shut down every year. Shut down everything. The last 5 years I've got to go back at least once a year. So it'll be
No, that's wonderful. In my case, since I did a lot of like traveling with my research and my internships. I mean, one lab is in Brazil,
Oh, wow.
the other one is in Boston at Harvard.
Yeah,
I have a couple at Penn State, which is a little bit easier to keep in touch
yeah,
because I did my PhD there. But it's always good just to send an email and updating your mentor at the time of what you are currently doing. And they are usually, very excited about hearing from you. I'm very proud of whatever you are doing. And they will reply. They will reply.
yes, definitely. I agree for sure. So, switching gears a little bit, can you talk a little bit more about what you do at AstraZeneca as far as what you can share? I don't know how much you can or can't share.
I know, yeah, we have a lot of secrets that we cannot share. No, but I think my journey at AstraZeneca has been very interesting. Currently, I'm in my second position, so I have been with the company 2 years now.
Awesome.
My first position, for me, was the normal, more simple transition
Mm,
from a postdoc position to a senior scientist in a company this big. Why? So I don't know if I mentioned this already. I don't think so. But my PhD and my postdoc were based in developing animal models of asthma.
mm,
That's part of my expertise.
yeah,
And the company at that time, my position was literally that,
wow.
developing animal models. I'm not joking, of
Created,
asthma.
they
When
created
I
the job just for you.
when I read that description, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh wow, this is just me in a description in a piece
Yeah,
of paper. Um, I apply, and not only for that position, I applied to multiple ones. Went through the interview process. I have to say it's very intense. When you are applying with a PhD, you need to present. So you
oh,
need to
wow.
make sure you do a full-blown seminar, 1 hour.
Yeah.
You are meeting with, I think, almost every single member of that team in particular.
Wow.
So that was a very intense interview. You need to know your stuff, be prepared.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was, like successful with my applications. I have to say I didn't only got that one, I also got 3 different offers. So I have 4 offers on the table at the
Wow.
same time, which
Wow.
I always said that gave me a lot of power because I
Yes.
was able to negotiate. And
Yes.
I think that's something that it's very important, especially for women in science.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't think how much we are worth,
Yeah.
especially coming out straight from a postdoc.
Mhm.
Um, Always negotiate. Doesn't matter the level, doesn't matter your nationality, doesn't matter if you are male, female, negotiate.
Yeah.
What is the worst thing that can happen? No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that they are going to say, they're not going to remove the full offer. You
Yeah.
just know, and then from that you can probably negotiate other things like vacations or stocks within the company
Mhm.
or other things. So always negotiate. I did that. Everything went very successful. I started working there. Something that you have to know about industry in general is that it's very volatile. I
Mhm.
mean, it's one day we are here, the next day we are
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
And that's very common. That's a risk of industry that you must know. So I started working. I started developing my model, and my team sadly changed a lot of times in a short
Oh,
period
wow.
of which it can be good. I mean, for some people love change and love actually learning new things quick and becoming an expert quick in a specific topic, and that's okay. In my case, I'm a mom. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's something that I should mention. I'm a
Yeah.
mom, and I wanted a position that I could become an expert on
Mhm.
something in industry, um, with not a lot of changes. Something
Yeah.
that I would feel comfortable learning and eventually become an expert on that.
Yeah.
So I felt that after a year of exploring bench work, it was time to transition to something else. And I have to say that the way that I found my current position was about just networking. I mean, I was in the cafeteria in the company, and someone heard me talking in Spanish, and she came to me. She's like, "You are Puerto Rican, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, from Puerto Rican." And we connected. Next thing you know, they had a position open in their team.
Wow.
And then I was able to go through the full interview process again, another seminar for this new team.
Oh, wow.
And what I do now, I love it. I mean, I'm learning a lot. I'm still learning. I have been in the position for 8 months.
Mm.
My position is in late stage. So when you go through the biopharma process, you will have the early, which is what I was doing before,
Okay.
discovering targets, developing animal models, etc. And you have the late stage. So late stage is once you have the target ready to go, once you start clinical trials, once you are thinking about commercialization of the drug product, that would be the late part of this
Oh,
pipeline.
wow. Okay.
So I'm currently in the late stage.
Yeah.
So and that's a big jump
Yeah.
when
Like,
you do it. Um, I'm currently learning about regulations.
mhm.
So from all over the world. I mean, we're talking about Japan, China, FDA here from the US,
Yeah. Wow.
Europe. I think it's incredible. I mean, it's incredible to learn about all those countries' regulations.
Hmm.
I make sure the drug is stable and safe for the patient.
Yeah.
So my team submit the drug to a lot of different stresses. For example, if we are shipping a drug, to another country, what is the exact temperature? And what happens if the temperature changes? What happens if the light changes?
Oh, wow.
What happens if we shake the drug many, many, many times? So
Wow.
those sort of things, those stresses actually go into regulatory filing.
Ah,
So my team is actually in charge of that part. Um, yeah, it has just been a great experience so far. We also do a lot of outreach with schools, with academia, with government, and that we partner. We publish a lot. So I think that's
awesome.
another misconception. Sometimes we think when we join industry, your publication record will stop. That was my thought. I mean, when I
Oh,
applied, I was like, oh, like this knowledge is all, everything that I'm producing is the company
mm,
owns it. I'm
yeah.
not publishing anymore. And I really like publishing. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go to PubMed right now and check my name.
Yeah.
And I do like publishing. I think that's something that I enjoy, just to get the voice out there
Mhm.
and to just explain what I do. And I have to say, for both teams, the early team and the late team that I'm part of now, publish. I mean, and that's
Awesome.
actually an expectation that the
Oh,
company has, and it's part of your goals.
oh, wow.
So I think that's just great. I'm working currently in two of them, and it's always a joy to get the voice out there. So yeah, I think my new
Awesome.
position is it's very different. I'm
Yeah.
closer to the patient.
Yeah.
We answer questions from clinical sites.
Yeah.
We help with clinical trials. We help developing them, and we help making sure that the formulation part of that is correct.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things, a lot of fun.
Yeah. That sounds really exciting. And I don't know if you know off the top of your head how many papers you're published. So,
Are you wondering what's next? Has everything you tried failed? Or maybe you just feel stuck? Then coaching might be right for you. The coaching relationship is a relationship totally centered on you. If you're tired of running on the hamster wheel of life and want to start to see results, reach out to IncrediPaul for help. So what are you waiting for? Go to incredipaul.org/coaching, IncrediPaul.org/coaching, or at I am IncrediPaul on all my socials. Or you can click the link in the bio for your free coaching session. I want to make sure you become the most incredible version of yourself.
I know you had.
I think I just published one recently. I should be close to 15, 16.
Wow.
I think that's where I am today.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good number. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
kind of
Really
young.
good. Yeah, yeah, that's a really good number. I would say for everyone listening, or if you're on YouTube, I would say if you're listening and not on YouTube, what are you doing? Get on YouTube, watch the podcast. But definitely search for Nathalie Fuentes, PhD,
Yes.
or PubMed, and check out some papers. That's
Definitely. And you guys are funny. You guys have any questions, just reach out on LinkedIn and I'll be more than happy to talk about my science.
yeah, that's really exciting. I love that. Love that. So, is there anything either on the early side or the late stage that most people don't know that goes into the process, or maybe you found kind of different or just interesting that goes into the process of making the drug and all this stuff?
I mean, everything is interesting for me. I think when you are new to a position, you're like, wow, by everything. I'm still in that stage, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
But how difficult it is
Oh
to
wow.
get a drug approved and how long it takes.
Oh wow.
I think COVID changed a lot of this
Okay.
because, as you may know, like companies like Pfizer, Moderna, they were able to, and even AstraZeneca, in terms of the monoclonal antibody cocktail, were able to get these drugs approved in a amazing amount of time. I
Yeah,
mean, it was
record
record.
time.
It was record time. I think for Pfizer, I think it was a year, if I'm not wrong. That's what I heard yesterday in
Yeah.
a seminar that I went to. Um, so things are changing. I think now we are expected to speed up things a little bit because we show that we can do it in a
Okay.
safe manner.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very important. I mean, safety is everything
Yeah.
for like to us. So I think it's that process of like eventually how long it takes, how much money it
Mhm.
takes,
Oh wow.
the brains behind it. I mean, you are dealing with brilliant minds.
Yeah.
So the coordination of teams, it's pretty
Mhm.
big. It's like I feel like as an orchestra.
Oh
You
wow.
need to be all combined. You need to be
Yeah.
all in the same rhythm, same pace. Because when a regulatory paper is due, for example, it's due. So yes, everybody has to be in synchrony in
Yeah.
order to make that happen.
Definitely.
But it's amazing. I mean, the lives that you can touch, and seeing how effective some of the drugs are with patients. I think that's everything.
Yeah.
And then you are like, I did something for that. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I know about that. Sometimes I'm on the TV and these ads comes out and I'm like, oh, I know that one.
Yeah. Like we
Like
just talked about that. Yeah.
I know that one. So that's pretty cool.
That's amazing. I can't imagine how rewarding it feels to
Mm-hmm.
be a part of that process because you are impacting people's lives directly, changing their lives, transforming their lives, making them to live longer, live healthier lives, and
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I just can't imagine how that feels.
Definitely. Yeah, it is very exciting. And I'm very grateful for having the opportunity to have this as my job. I think it's great.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so I know you're in AstraZeneca, and then you're based in Maryland. Is it Baltimore or where in Maryland are you based on?
So it is Gaithersburg.
Is-
I would say the best way of putting it for people's, like reference, it's around 20, 30 minutes away from NIH,
Okay.
which is Bethesda, and maybe 30, 35 minutes from DC.
Yeah.
So it's very close. I mean, it's very close. We have a lot of close airports like Reagan, Dulles,
Okay.
and even Baltimore. I mean, BWI, I would say it's 45, 50 minutes away,
Okay.
maybe
Yeah.
less.
All in
Mhm.
that DMV area.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I know you mentioned the NIH, and I know you did a postdoc at the NIH
Yeah.
during what is probably one of the, well, is uh most historical times we've ever faced with COVID. So I don't know. Do you want to talk more about how everything broke down in your postdoc, and because if I remember right, you were already in that postdoc for a year or more before COVID started,
When
right?
everything hit, and I spent my whole year, like the whole pandemic season, being a postdoc there. Funny enough, I was in NIAP. So NIAP is the actual institute that worked during the pandemic.
Oh wow.
So I was able to see kind of like firsthand all the mess that was going on because, as you might know, the Moderna vaccine was a collaboration with NIH researchers.
Mhm.
So NIH was like a very active, and Some of you might know Dr. Fauci.
Yeah,
He was, yeah, actually the lead of the NIAID
yeah.
Institute. I had the pleasure of meeting him, and one of my best friends, also a postdoc, he worked closely with him during the pandemic. So yeah, it was a moment of craziness, but I think the team did what they had to. There was a lot of previous knowledge in terms of COVID. As you may know, COVID is not new. COVID is something that we know about for many years, but this whole variation occur, and then this is how we build up the new knowledge over the one that we already had.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember some of the rules of NIH. Um, we had to take turns to go to lab,
Oh
which kind
wow.
of slowed down a lot of the projects for postdocs or postbacks or even staff scientists. Um, so
Wow.
we were limited. We needed to like do like a tag team. Oh, I have animals. I need to go this day. I have
Oh wow.
experiments. You go in the morning. I go in the afternoon. We had people even go in the evening just to make sure we were able to finish experiments on time.
Yeah.
We had masks. I mean, we have to take COVID tests every day or so. I think it was like
Oh
weekly. I mean, yeah, we
wow.
have like
Every
some sort
week.
of, it was a crazy policy. Um,
Wow.
we had every morning in the at the door um, to say we were like exposed, we were like feeling
Oh
um, like a little bit bad or sick or under the weather, and then they give you like a tag, like a sticker or something with the
yeah.
mask, and you had to, doesn't matter if you were bringing a mask from home, you needed to use their mask.
Oh wow.
Their
Really?
mask was like stronger than the one that you normally buy at the
Oh
store.
wow. Okay.
So it was a full process. I mean, I remember all of that, but I think they took the steps necessary to make us feel safe at
Yeah.
work. And I don't know, things seems to be getting a little bit better. So
Yeah.
um, it feels that we are a little bit getting back to normal,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I really enjoy. But yeah, it was madness during
Oh,
my postdoc.
yeah. I can't imagine that and being a postdoc and then you people can't be in lab at the same time and that just everything's slowing down.
Hmm.
And then I know you were talking about those like COVID questionnaire, COVID surveys. I had to do the same thing
Yeah,
in my
every
job. And I was
day,
like, yeah, that,
every
and
day.
especially for me. So I traveled extensively. So the other interesting part was just the different regulations depending on what state you're in. Because
Oh, that
yeah,
makes sense.
and also like some of them will be like, well, because I know every week or every month they would release the numbers of which had the higher amount of COVID cases, and then if you were coming from one of those places, then you would have to quarantine even if you didn't have. So there's
Oh,
sometimes I had to like rearrange travel because I just came from this place, I can't go, I have to
to
go
another
here
one.
instead.
Oh,
So it
wow.
was definitely an interesting time.
And I think we learn a lot from that. I mean, we learned that I think now we are better prepared. If
Yes.
hopefully nothing like that will happen again. But we all know that there is a possibility that we
Oh yeah.
might, like, get another one of these pandemic seasons sooner than later. So
Mhm.
we know we can do it. We know that we can develop our vaccines in a reasonable amount of time, and
Yeah.
I think we learned a lot from
Yeah.
the COVID
I
pandemic.
agree. It definitely like beyond the part of just getting through and making the vaccine and so we can go back to some sort of normalcy.
Hmm.
I know a lot of people, myself, it was a chance to slow down a little bit because everything was shut down, so you didn't have an opportunity to do anything else but just do some reflection. And that was actually part of the reason I even started
Hmm.
IncrediPaul was I had the opportunity
That's
to do
great.
that. Now looking back, it's over 3 years ago now.
No, I love that. I mean, I was there cheering you up from the beginning.
Yeah.
So very proud of your accomplishments, and just making sure that the next generation of scientists is able to, get educated and hear from us, like our
Yes.
perspective. I think it's just such a great idea. And sometimes you need to listen and to
Yeah.
get that extra push in order to align your career in the right direction. So thank you for
Yes.
doing that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And I know you do a lot of stuff as well. And we could probably get into it. But I also want to talk about like some of the stuff that we were involved in college. So I know, like for those of you
Oof, there's story there.
yeah, right. So we actually attended Iowa State University. We crossed paths there. We were both a part of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. You know, Natalie mentioned that she's Puerto Rican. I do not have Hispanic blood in my body anywhere,
It's true.
but but it's just a community, La Familia. Like it was just a really welcoming group, and I was highly involved. And it was just an awesome opportunity to learn more about diverse people in STEM and get connection and build those networks, like you mentioned.
I love that group, that organization. I was always in all the conferences, and we always make fun because somehow I ended up having interviews
Yeah,
in
for
engineering conference, and they're like,
yes.
why did you get an interview for an internship? You are not even
Yeah,
an engineer. I was a
yeah.
biochem major.
Hmm.
And somehow the companies always had a biochem position
Yeah.
for summer. Um, so it was a great experience. And I mean, everything is about networking. And
Mm,
to be honest, I'm still in contact with a lot of people from the organization. When I know a student that is an engineer, and
yeah,
I can connect him or her to
yeah.
that particular contact that I have in
Yeah.
my network, it means a lot. It means a lot.
Mm.
So yeah, it was a great experience in terms of communication skills and leadership.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's a must. If you are an undergrad student, it's a must to be involved with some sort of organization and have a leadership role. I mean, I think that helps a lot,
Yes.
especially if you are planning to apply to grad school, to med school, and even
Mhm.
to get your first position
Yeah.
after undergrad, because not everybody is going to go to grad school. But if you are planning to just go straight to work,
Mhm.
which is completely fine, having these will actually help you in your application process. And I think that was very important.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I know my first industry experience was directly because of SHPE, because we had the RLDC where Iowa
Yes.
State hosted it. And so
Oh my God.
I had connected with one of the people who came back, and I was just talking to him. Just I wasn't really thinking about getting a job or anything at that point. It was spring of 2014, and then later in the fall of 2014, and I was looking for different positions.
Mhm.
I saw him at the career fair, and then at the and I went to their I forgot their info sessions. They used to do info sessions, and I saw him again there. And then I know he remembered me, and we talked again. And then shortly after that info session, someone came up to me and said, like, we want to interview you for a
Look at
co-op
that.
position. The next, I think it was either the next day or 2 days later, and I was able to do a co-op with them that spring semester. So this was in the fall, and then January to end of July 2015, I was working with them in Wichita, Kansas, doing stuff that I
Look at
can't
that.
really imagine. Because all at that point, I had just done only research stuff.
Networking. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the importance of being involved in these sort of like teams and groups and organizations, and um, just being open to the opportunities, and don't be afraid. I mean, don't be shy. I know sometimes we are introverted, and sometimes like we don't speak up. But I think it's important sometimes to advocate for yourself.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
also, always have your resume ready to go.
Yes.
I always am a big advocate of LinkedIn.
Mm,
I think I mentioned that I had 4 interviews when trying to transfer or moving into
yeah.
industry. And I have to say, 3 out of the 4 interviews were through LinkedIn.
Wow.
So that's very important. And
Yeah.
I think nowadays all the applications have like something that said, I don't know, professional link or
Oh, yeah.
website
Yeah.
or web
Website.
page
Yeah.
or blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And that's actually where LinkedIn goes. You
Yeah.
just click your link, copy and paste,
Yes.
put it there, and they will find you.
Hmm.
I mean, recruiters will find you.
Yeah.
Um, people from the admissions office will find you.
Yeah.
So just make sure your LinkedIn is up to date and you connect with people through LinkedIn as well. I think
Yeah,
that's very important.
that's really important. And I know I believe you help people with help up their LinkedIn profiles as well as resumes, interviewing stuff as
I
well.
love that. I learn from people you have no idea. So learning from like people's careers
Mhm.
and their journeys,
Mhm.
it's very interesting. So yeah,
Yeah,
I do help a lot of people with resume, with LinkedIn, and that's one of my side, like job
yeah,
passions that I have. And it's a joy. Also, just like counseling and advising and
awesome.
making sure people understand the opportunities that are out there. I think
Yeah,
that's one of the main issues and problems, specifically for minorities. I mean, minorities in science, we don't know what programs can help you succeed. I have
mhm.
to highlight, now that we are in a very nice forum,
Yeah,
several programs.
yeah.
For me, the McNair program
Oh, yes.
was great, and that's part of an undergraduate, like national program that will help you with your applications when you are applying to grad school.
Mhm.
They will help you with your essays. They will cover expenses in terms of applying. The application
Yeah,
process sometimes can be expensive. If you need to travel and the flight is not covered by the school, which is weird, but it can happen.
yeah,
They are there for you. If you need to do research, they are there for the stipend and to make sure they can align you with the lab that you are interested
yes,
in. So I think the McNair program in Iowa State, and I know many other schools have
yes,
it,
yes.
was key. Also, I would like to highlight the Step Up NIH program from NIDDK. With them, I did many of the internships that I talked about at the beginning
Yeah.
of the podcast. They were very, very supportive.
Mhm.
Until this day, I'm still in contact with them. I go back as a speaker every
Awesome.
year. I meet their cohorts, and what they have, like the I don't know, the magic of the program is that you are not attached to one institution.
Oh,
So
wow.
sometimes when you apply to internships, you apply to a specific
Mhm.
institution or blah blah blah. The Step Up program give you the funding and the freedom of going anywhere.
Wow.
So when I mentioned that I went to Harvard
Yeah.
was because I knew I had the Step Up funding. I went to Google and I wrote Harvard PIs. And at that time, I was interested in learning about neuroscience. It's neuroscience for me. That was the
Yeah.
project that I did there. And I put neuroscience, Harvard. And I found a list of very interesting PIs.
Yeah.
Sit down, wrote an email, mentioned that I had funding, and mentioned that I was interested in their research. I read their publications ahead of time.
Awesome.
I had my resume good to go, and I sent the message. Of
Mhm.
course, did I think they will reply? No. I'm like, whatever. I just sent it to the normal general email that is on the website.
Oh,
They
wow.
might not. This might even go to spam.
Yeah.
This might even go to spam. And this one PI ended up replying. And she's
Oh,
like, can you be here in 2 weeks for an interview?
2 weeks.
And funny enough, you know what the 2 weeks were? Spring
Yeah.
break. So
Wow.
I was able to take a flight, of course, with the help of all of these other programs, to take a flight to Boston and interview.
Wow.
And after that, we thought it was like a good, match. And I ended up spending my full summer at Harvard.
That is
So
amazing.
that was just, sometimes you don't even need, I don't know, networking or anything. You just send an email
Yeah.
and that's it. That's it. So yeah, the Step Up program give you that freedom. I went to Penn State with their funding as well. That's how I met the faculty, and that's how I ended up joining Penn State as a grad student because I was familiar with their research program, familiar with their program, the grad program in general. That was thanks to the Step Up program.
Yeah.
So another thing is that you can start in the program as a high schooler.
Really?
So I did 2 years of step up in high school,
Wow.
and then they kind of like to follow you and support you through your career. So that's how I ended up also applying as an undergrad.
That's
Um,
amazing.
so yeah, it was a great opportunity. At the end of the experience, you have to go to NIH to present your research. So I did that many, many times. And now I just go, as a speaker. So
Yeah,
it's different.
yeah.
Um, so that was another program. I have to highlight Inspire.
Oh,
So
yes.
I think Paul maybe knows a little bit about Inspire. He did a lot of things with
A
them
little
too.
bit. Yeah.
But Inspire, if I'm not wrong, and you can correct me, it's like a Midwest program, right?
Yeah, so I know it's between 10 universities and college in Iowa, Illinois, and Nebraska. Yeah.
Exactly. And with Inspire, we ate a lot of pizza. I told Paul I was gonna mention it. So I was obsessed with pizza, still are.
They still are.
And in every time that I was able to run a meeting, Paul was always the treasurer of our teams. I'm like, pizza. So it was hilarious. He was like, Natalie, let's order, I don't know, Asian food, or let's order wings, and I'm like,
Yeah.
we stick
No.
to pizza. So that was also a very fun fact. But Inspire
Mm,
also support us in terms of research within the
mm.
institution. They also have their conferences and symposiums that you can attend to.
Yes.
It's more of a professional development experience.
Yes.
They help you a lot with communication skills. They help you with writing and with just aligning yourself with whatever you need in the future. So
Yes.
Inspire, I always have them very near my heart as
Yeah.
well.
Definitely. Yeah, I know we're both highly involved with Inspire, that we started a student organization centered around it,
Yes, we
dedicated to
did.
research. And you named it
I
Irish
name it.
Research. Yeah. It was a good name, good organization. And then we were even involved in it after graduate, still involved in it, like you mentioned, with now the Aspire LSAMP Alumni Committee. And
Hmm.
then even since then, the stuff with NALA that you, along with Lizette, came along
Yes.
with me to help kick that off. There was a lot of work at the beginning just to get it off the ground and
Get the idea ready and get
people,
everything.
find people. But yeah, it's been really exciting, all the work we've done for the underrepresented people or historically excluded people.
Hmm.
And it's been remarkable.
No, that I know that experience, and you might notice that um these experiences were not only as an undergrad, were not only as a grad student.
Mm,
They stay with you. I
yes.
mean, we just did this as professionals in our specific careers. And
Yeah.
one time, Paul called me, Natalie, let's do this. And I'm like, of course. So yeah, it's a life lasting network, and always very grateful
Yeah.
for all of those programs, what they gave to us, and now we are trying to give back a little
Yeah.
bit and help others as well.
Yes, definitely. And that's the other thing, as far we were talking about networking, is that you never know the people that you come across, like how long that you're gonna stay in contact with them, or they become lifelong friends. Because when we met at Iowa State in Shep, of like Natalie's school, like we were eating pizza together. Now looking back, this is the first time we met. I think it's over 10 years ago now.
Yeah, yeah, it's over 10 years. I would
Yeah.
say maybe around 12
Yeah.
now. So it has been a long a long friendship, and
Yeah.
but very happy. I mean, very happy, and I hope it continues this
Yeah.
way. I mean, I think until we get very, very old
Yeah, we're still
and we get retired. We can
together.
retire
We're
together.
retired.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Early retirement.
Yes, that is my goal, retire. I do not want to be working into my 70s or even mid 60s.
We can shoot for like, I don't know, 55.
Yeah,
I think that might be doable.
early retirement. That's what I'm shooting for. I like to say, like, all the stuff. I know you have a lot of stuff you do on the side that you help people with. Really professional development, interviews, resume, all that stuff. And I do this stuff in IncrediPaul. I like to think of it as my retirement plan, as far as when
There
I
you go.
choose that I don't want to work anymore, then there's still something I can do.
That's wonderful. No, I see myself, I mean, at that stage, traveling and keep supporting the next generation of scientists. Right now, I was just talking to Paul. So right now, I'm in Texas in International Science and Engineering Fair with some high school kids
Yeah.
that we have been actually supporting through the whole science fair process. I'm a science fair kid. I grew up in science fairs, not because my family comes from a science background, but because a teacher kind of identified me as a potential future scientist when I was little. And I just continue competing, and I went to the International Science Fair when I was in 10th and 12th grade. And then after that, kept my involvement. I came as a judge in 2017, which is a big achievement because you're in an international platform. And then this year, I came as an assistant fair director. And that's one of my pride and joys as well, just to make sure people has the opportunity to go through the scientific process at an early age. I think
Yeah.
it's important to determine whether the kid likes science or not. So having or giving the opportunity to kids, it's just great. Um, Always talking to schools. I created a training program for Hispanics that is actually online, together with the nonprofit Ciencia en Tus Manos. And we impacted 1,000 students, 1,000 Puerto Rican students from public schools and teachers. And that was I think 2-3 hours training. We explained them the scientific method. We even show a couple of experiments that you can do at home, how to communicate with the judges, how to present your research, how to design a poster, how to understand the rules. Because of course, it's not that we're gonna go crazy and we're gonna start mixing all these weird things at home, and who knows what you can cause. We need to really think about our hypotheses and how to prove the hypothesis in a logic, way. So it was a great opportunity. It's something that I enjoy till these days, and something that hopefully I will keep supporting in the years to come.
Yes.
So if you have the chance and you know someone, or teenagers, or kids or children that can benefit from developing a science fair, just recommend that. And if you can help, that's even better. So yeah,
That's really
go
important.
science fair.
Yeah, go science fair. And also want to highlight what you said as far as the teacher that saw something in you and really took you on your path to STEM. I think it's really critical. I feel like we're talking about it more now, but it's not always talked about as far as how impactful teachers are, especially in the STEM area. As far as I know, not every teacher is in science and technology and math, but I think having teachers who recognize that the value it brings and inspire students to do it, because I know you've run across so many different people that say like they either hate math or they're not good at math, they're not good at science, but we both know that all the stuff that you learn in science or in research is just from practice, and none of us are really good at it at the beginning. It's something that we develop and we get passionate about it as we go through the challenges and get better.
And you keep exploring. I think t-shirts, and talking here. So I have been networking here at ISEF. That's actually the abbreviation of International Science and Engineering Fair.
Yeah.
Most people that I talked to, it was that one teacher who actually changed their path. That actually helped them become the scientists they are today. So I think it only takes one.
Yeah.
in the whole high school, middle school, elementary trajectory, to really change a kid's life. Um, most of us, we don't come again from science, doctors, families, or most of the time, I mean, minorities, we don't have a role model that we
Yeah.
can look and say, oh, I want to be like
Yeah.
her. I want to be like him. I want to truly follow their steps, because that's not common. I mean,
Yeah.
it's getting better, but it's
Yeah.
still not something common.
Mhm.
So yeah, teachers are just extremely important. Even sending the science fair as a grade, something more relaxed, and then you can detect which student you see that is actually very involved and
Yeah.
that trying to do their best, or
Mhm.
that you see some sort of potential.
Yeah.
Just push them a little bit more and take the time. I think it's
Yes.
everything about time. Sit down with
Mhm.
the student, draft ideas. And that's another thing. Sometimes teacher give a specific topic. I would say let the student just be creative.
Yeah.
We can do science out of everything. Everything for me is science. If you like animals, I mean,
Mhm.
there's tons of projects with animals,
Yes.
that can be my brother, for example. I can give my brother's examples on this. So right now he has a bachelor's in administration, and he combined that with animal center management.
Wow.
So that's an interesting combination. And
Yeah.
I remember when he was younger, his science fair, he loved whales. Loved them. Those
Wow.
are his favorite animal till this day. And then, of course, I was a little bit older. I'm 4 years older than him. I was brainstorming with my mom. So how can we build a science fair that he's still interested in presenting? Because we knew he was not a science type, but
Yeah.
it was a requirement from the teacher. So it was a
Yeah.
grade. So we ended up somehow measuring the pH of water in different regions of Puerto Rico where the wells have been seen, because we get wells.
Oh, I didn't know
um
that.
yeah, we get wells sometimes in the year, because when it gets cold in the
Mhm.
US, they actually move to warm waters in the
Ah.
Caribbean.
Okay.
So we do get wells in
Yeah.
Puerto Rico sometime in the year. So then we waited for those whales to be seen, and
Yeah.
then we went to those areas. And of course, this is like a correlation. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not that we are taking the whale and doing who knows with the whale. We cannot do that. There are things that are not allowed.
Yeah.
But just for him to have that, oh, a whale was in here, and I'm
Mm.
comparing the pH level of this
Oh,
water
wow.
versus the other side of the island,
Wow.
was enough for him to be interested. And he did well. I think he even got like second, first place in his category.
Wow.
And that happens because we didn't say, oh, you have to do, like, I don't know, a plant, how the plant grows. We
Oh,
knew
yeah.
he
Or
will not be
just solar
interested. But
system.
some kids might like to see how the plant grows.
Mhm.
So all depends on the interest of the kid. But just don't say that it's not possible. Just be creative.
Yeah.
I mean, I think science is just everything. And very importantly, when I was growing up, I mentioned that I did many of them. It was the same story as my internships. So
Mhm.
I explore different topics every year. I
Mm.
went from working with plants,
Yeah.
to working with an engineering project. So my dad my dad helped me build an engine or something.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, so it was like some sort of electrical current. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but I did that in eighth grade. Then I did some zoology, like some animal work. I work with the coquis. That's the native frog of
Yeah.
Puerto Rico. And I remember getting into the forest like at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., trying to record them
Mhm.
and trying to do some sort of like, I don't know, counting them around, and
Wow.
some sort of like like when you count the population.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was like ninth grade.
Wow.
And then when I went to high school, I met this one teacher, and she's like, Nathalie, you have the potential to do research in a lab. And then she connected me with a lab in a university. And after that, I applied to Step Up. So they were able to give me the funding to start research in a lab. And I
Wow.
have to say, this is all from the public system. I'm a, I'm a kid of the public
Yeah,
educational system. Um, and it just takes one teacher to put you in that path.
that's so
So yeah,
powerful. So
extremely
powerful.
exciting.
That's incredible. Love it. Well, we're about out of time, but is there anything that we haven't talked about yet, or you want people to know about you?
Oh, that flew by pretty
Yeah,
fast. I have to
yeah,
say, I was like, at first he mentioned 45 minutes. I'm like, what? What I'm gonna talk about in 45 minutes? So
yeah,
yeah, time flew by.
yeah.
I think it's just, in terms of advice, never give up. Never
Mm,
give up. Um, in your dreams, they can happen. I mean, there are ways of making your dreams happen. There are people that want to help you.
mm,
There are programs out there that can do a lot of magic for you.
mm.
Contact us. I mean,
Yes.
we love to help. We love to hear from you every way we can. We are busy, so maybe I'm not gonna answer within an hour. But I will.
Yeah.
I will eventually um, expand your network. I think that's the best way. Explore different areas in science or engineering. Doesn't matter. Just explore them. If you are an undergrad, take random classes. I mean, I had so much fun. Probably Paul knows. I took Taekwondo. I took the beer and wine class.
Yeah.
I took the walking class because when you are in a major like science or engineering, it's dense. I mean, it's a
Mhm.
dense major, and sometimes you need your break.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to take time.
Yeah.
It's not everything about working, it's not everything about studying.
Yeah.
You also need those other, like social skills
Yeah.
or have fun.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. If not, you're gonna run out. I
Yes.
mean, you're gonna get to a point where you don't wanna see the word science anywhere. So just take the time to enjoy and have fun. Take the break when you have to. Take care of your mental health. That's
That's
very important. That can take a toll on you. And if you have to repeat a class, repeat it. I
mm,
mean, it's okay. I mean,
yeah.
it's okay. We are not perfect on everything. We are
Yeah.
not experts. In my case, I love some of my science classes, but I have to tell you, physical chemistry wasn't for me. So and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. It's okay.
It's okay. I mean,
Oh, it's a one class.
it's always one class. For me, it was PChem.
Yeah.
And I have to say,
For
I
me, it
haven't.
was biochem, actually.
That's the
I,
easiest.
I know, because that was your major. For me, I think it was just the way the class was made, and it was a 301 class, and it was just like,
Oh,
yeah,
3. Yeah, a 3 is a little high.
yeah.
But no, for me, it was PChem. I think PChem was level 4. I think it was a 4
Oh,
something.
wow.
And I remember, I'm like, I cannot process this. I don't understand until this day. I'm still wondering what that class was about. It got to that level. I mean, till this day, thankfully, what I decided to do after doesn't have anything to do with PChem. I don't need anything from there. Um, but yeah, just don't get upset.
Mm,
Keep pushing because eventually it will happen.
yes.
So yeah, that's the most important thing.
That's really amazing advice. Good advice. Well, I want to make sure people know how to find you as far as any websites or LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever. Tell people how they can find you.
Perfect. So LinkedIn, I think LinkedIn is an excellent way of communicating, and he can share it with you. If
Yeah.
I'm not wrong, it's linkedin.com/Nathalie Fuentes, and probably he can put a little fancy title there.
Yeah.
After we are done, awesome. And then on Facebook, I have my resume page, and that is Dr. Fuentes' office. So I can also share that with your pal, and you can also put it down
Yeah.
here. And if you guys need me, And yeah, I think those are my two main. I don't have Instagram. I don't have Twitter. They take a long time, so
Yeah, that takes
I'm
time.
just sticking to the basics: Facebook and LinkedIn.
Oh, that's good. I have way too many, so
You
I'll see
do.
you.
I don't know how you keep up.
I don't know how I do either,
That's a
but
lot.
it is a lot. But Natalie, it's been amazing having you on the podcast, talking about your journey from where we were in undergrad together to where you are right now. It's just amazing to see how you blossom. Well, you were already amazing back then, and you just got even better now. And
A lot of work, and
a lot of work, but and how you've also kept your passion for helping people. Even though, like from the first time I met you till now, you've always been one to help out, reach out to people whenever. And I know you mentioned that, like anyone listening or watching, definitely reach out to Natalie if you have any questions. Like
definitely,
she'll reach out. She'll definitely connect with you. So don't be afraid to reach out.
definitely.
But I hope you learned something from this episode. I know I did, and it was just great catching up with you.
Thank you so much, Paul, for the invitation. And again, anything you need, anything, if you're like watching or listening,
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. Just reach out.
Yes, for sure. And keep being incredible.
Thank you for listening to the IncrediPaul Podcast with Paul Ferranbi. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. We'll see you here next time. And be incredible. Incredible. Incredible.